What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Third and Longhorn. Man, we're finally getting back into the player interviews. I'm excited about this, and we've got our first one here to kick it off, Mr. Ethan Burke. Ethan, welcome.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
We appreciate you, man. Well, we always start the show off the same way. How did you get to Texas? Can you kind of explain your route? I know it was a short trip.
Yeah, real short, just down the street, but I didn't really expect to end up being here, from probably it was a last minute decision, but I started off as a lacrosse player and was going to Maryland where I always wanted to go to play lacrosse, and then ended up flipping to go to Michigan for both sports. And then the day before signing day, Coach Milby called me in English class, gave me the offer, and for me it was really a no-brainer. Just, I think this is the place for me. My family's down the street, just all the history. It was an easy decision for me to make, really.
Yeah. You said English class.
English.
Did you step out of the classroom? Take the call? How does that work?
Well, I was we were about to go present, dude. I got up and my teacher was pregnant. She didn't really care. She let me go.
Perfect. It was a perfect scenario.
I was like, ma'am, I'm leaving. So.
That is funny. Hold on. So I want to take it back to lacrosse real quick. Was that your first sport or?
Yeah, just probably my first sport. Since I was around, that was the first thing I knew. When I was a baby, have the lacrosse stick with me,
And okay, so with that, you got offered in lacrosse first as well? That was your first sports offer?
Yeah,
okay.
Definitely.
Well, can you kind of explain to us a little bit, how does lacrosse tie into football? What skill sets and traits from lacrosse help you out on the football field?
So much, especially for me, just playing defensive end. I'd say the footwork helped me. There's so much creativity in lacrosse too, and for me, just coming up with new ways to beat my defender and how to score goals and just translate to that, with beating an offense tackle. I think it's quite similar. So there's so many ways, and I think it's probably the best sport to correlate with football, just because the physicality, the mental, there's a large amount to it, and then also the conditioning. I think they really complement each other.
Ethan, Sark always talks about being Texas tough and just talking about blue-collar workers and talking about a strong mindset. He's always talking about being tough. And honestly, you're like the top of the list when he talks about guys that are really tough on the football team. What do you credit when you talk about your toughness and your mindset on the football field when you talk about a blue-collar football player?
Yeah, first of all, I appreciate that. But I would just say, where I credit to is just my upbringing, my dad and my parents, always seeing them work really hard, Okay. I think they instilled that in me, but also doing stuff for me, but not giving me too much, not spoiling me, making sure I still have to work for it, and then my dad being really tough on me. He was my coach my whole life.
Oh, yeah.
And so, there's bickering. Growing up, for sure. It's always crazy having a dad as a coach, especially my dad is.
Coach Burke and Daddy Burke are two different people. So, go ahead and tell them the truth. That's lacrosse tough is what it is.
It's different. Gritty, for sure.
In that piece that DJ's talking about, Coach Sark said, and I quote, he doesn't mind getting grimy. Yeah. And I think that's one of those ones that make you make that nasty. That's from Papa Burke. Where's that from?
Totally, definitely my dad. He's loud and just get stuff done without a doubt. So I think for me, it's just trying to make all my whole family proud and just have that mindset. I got to do this. Let's try not to complain and just go do it and do it to the best of your abilities. Really,
I love it.
Ethan, you obviously have had a tremendous career already up to this point as a defensive end here at the University of Texas. There's a long lineage of guys that have played the position and played the position very well. AO obviously is a perfect example, but we're in the trophy room. This is the Hall of Fame room, and it's all Americans plastered across of DNs that have played here at the University of Texas. What's it like playing underneath that lineage of such high intelligent, high explosive guys? And then who have you modeled your game after off the people that you've seen, whether it's college or NFL?
From here, from UT-wise, I just think the standard's really high with defensive ends, and we've seen so many great ones come, and currently we have really good room. A lot of pass rushers, a lot of gritty guys, like you said, who can stop the run and whatnot. For us, and like it's great to have guys in the NFL that we can watch, like Osai, Omeniu, all of them are great to watch. So, yeah, I saw Omeniu in person, and he's way bigger than I thought, without doubt. And then just like on a personal basis, my favorite player is Maxx Crosby, without doubt. It's not even close. He's really so creative and so scientific about everything, about the way he goes about everything on the football field, and so smart with it too, and really like entertaining to watch, right? That's like we all want to be the best, but we also got to entertain too, and he's top two.
I got a chance actually to see him this past week. We had a camp in Las Vegas for the last week, training a lot of guys, and we needed to be on the field for 7 a.m. And by the looks of it, he had been out there since 5:45, and that was every day. That was every day.
In Vegas.
In Vegas. So 5:45 in Vegas.
That's the only city time.
There you go.
So just throwing that out there for you. You say you love his creativity, you love the flash he plays with. I can tell you from looking at it, it's some work behind all of that.
Ethan, I gotta tell you this: your attributes are going to translate well to the NFL, and you know this, right? Being a big, tough guy, we need more guys like that, especially playing the defensive line. What will you add to your game this year for 2025 season? What are you trying to add to? You got a lot of good stuff going into here, but what are you trying to add to your game where you say, man, I can get better here, or I want to continue to do this well?
Totally. I think for me, being consistent, obviously, I think I've had a lot of flash plays, and I've had games where I'm outstanding. I've had other games where I feel like I'm, somewhat not up to my standard for myself. So being more consistent, and I feel like I've had a really good summer with the weight room and whatnot. So I think that's helped me is just getting stronger, and then being more creative, and just like sometimes I get like, oh, what's my role, So like trying to like just try and like, I don't know, be more like creative, like I said, and then study my opponents better. I think that's one thing that can really help me is studying. And then just being more consistent, not like losing my hands, and getting better lockout for sure.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, I got to steal the next one because we got to talk about this. They brought back a certain rivalry this year in the Texas versus Texas A&M story, and you made a play that will forever go down in the history of Texas on fourth down. Can you kind of walk us through that play and what was going through your head and kind of how it happened?
Yeah, man. They called the package. I was ready to go. Thankfully, they called it.
Simple as that, right?
Yeah. Went in. I think they were thinking they were going to outrun me on that. And I just, free shot. Just come through, make the play. It was just such a fun moment, like something I'll never forget, without a doubt. Being in that stadium, like, I don't like them, but playing there was really fun.
It's an incredible atmosphere.
I like the grass. I like being outside, and everyone in the stands, all the college kids yelling. It's just outstanding. And then that play was just like one of the craziest moments. It's just so hard to explain to someone who like hasn't experienced something like that. It's surreal. You have adrenaline. You don't go to bed. We probably got home not too late, but I probably didn't go to bed till like 4. Just running off adrenaline, like watching TV in my room.
Just thinking of all the nice things that fans were saying for those 3 hours that you were out there.
But you never know.
You talked about your speed. Who's the fastest defensive line? If y'all lined up, I know you talked about running 110s, right? Yeah. Who would win in a race?
Okay, I'm gonna tell you this. So like if we're doing like 110s, full speed, not me. But I
thought that was going to
self-awareness. I'll give that one a con. But if we're saying 10 yard, I'm choosing me.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah.
I'm choosing me.
Not the 100, just the 10.
Just 10 yards, but what do I need?
No, you don't need
110 yards? I don't need.
You catch a pick at the goal line.
Yeah.
I mean, what you gonna do?
Yeah, I don't know.
I was gonna say at our position, then 10 yards is all you need. I was talking to Foz before this, and I was like, man, Foz, I don't know if I still got that burst in me. As a DN, all you need is that burst.
That's 10. So if I do pick it off on the goal line, hopefully I'm running off adrenaline and some smelling salts and whatnot.
There you go.
That'll be good.
I love it.
Let me ask you, Ethan. So you're heading into your senior season, right? who can you think of? I'm sure it's a plethora of guys, but like who stands out? Who's the first person that comes to mind when I ask you this? Who do you think of that's kind of helped you and helped mold you and teach you the way along this journey? And then additionally, who's someone that you've taken under your wing? Because especially in that DN room, I see it all the time. I've seen it when I was there, before I got there, when I left.
In 86.
The DN room is particularly close, and you guys do a really good job of training and teaching the next one. So who have you kind of mentored, and then who brought you under their wing?
No doubt. For me, just easy answer is Barron Farrell for bringing me under his wing. Just since I came in as a freshman, had no clue what was going on in the playbook, telling me what to do in the summer previously, and then when it was me and him, my sophomore year, just always picking me up when we had tough games, me and him both, and trying to like feed off each other's energy. And just up until last year, you know, just always being with him was always great. And then still texting him, seeing him around now is great. We can catch up. So definitely one of the best teammates I've ever had, without a doubt. Just great person, always ready to work. He's really the definition of gritty, I'd say. And then someone I want to help out. Right now, we're a young room. I'm the oldest guy by far. It's like me and then Vosic, and then we got sophomores and freshmen. So I'm trying to show these freshmen right now the way. I think Lance Jackson is going to be an outstanding player, without a doubt. But I think right now, part of me feels like I need to be helping him and just guiding him on the right path. Because if I'm not going to do it, who's going to do it for him? So I feel like I feel like I need to help him out a little bit, without a doubt. Him and then Smith and Rodwell, I'm trying to get on track and get both of them, so maybe they can contribute this year, or when hopefully I can come back and watch them in a few years.
Absolutely.
And they're both balling out.
Absolutely. Well, I was gonna say we got time for one more. You got it, dude.
Perfect. So we picked up Coach Kenny Baker last year on the D-line, and immediately we saw the type of progress that you guys made as a unit. You got guys like Alfred Collins having the best year of his career. Then you got guys like Barron Farrell that you just mentioned. As for Coach Kenny Baker, what's his demeanor like? Like, how is he as a coach, and how is he aided in your development?
Yeah, I think he's helped me tremendously. I think he's really smart, first of all, just from a schematic standpoint. And then obviously technical, very good with our run. And then we got Coach Clark now for the pass stuff too. And both of them together, I think practice has been really fun. The PRPs, you know, they're not here right now, sadly, but the competition is raised with both of them, you know, just competing in practice and them helping us. And then Coach Baker, I think he makes it fun too, like in the meetings, whatnot, you know, and then on the field, it's business and business, but we can still have fun as we do it, you know. So I think Coach Baker's been huge for just the entire group, you know, everybody involved in the team.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us, Ethan. We've been wanting to have you on, so we appreciate you coming. We'll have to get you back for another episode. So,
Appreciate it, guys.
All right, hook 'em.